education, relearning within the community, so many of them will just end up giving up. So how we are able to contend that is, at the end of the training, we still have accountability groups, accountability partners, admins, trainers that we keep organizing, maybe general training once in a while. And you also get to build your own personal accountability groups. So when your own chips are down, then there will be people around you to motivate you.
Awesome. Round of applause for that good insight. I would also want to add, Cynthia, I would also want to add that a lot of people here, they find it difficult with the authenticity of these trainings, because we have a lot of overhyped trainings. They tell you, register for this training, we are going to give you a job after this training, and then you're done. That's you get a better job. You can Google. You wait for the job, you get tired, you now go for another training that they promise you job, and then the cycle goes on. So how, do we identify authentic trainings?
Okay, to be sincere with you, I'm not sure there is any training that would apparently guarantee you a job. Let's be sincere. Many of us went to universities, apart from first-class students that probably at the end of your graduation, if you are good, then you'll be retained. I'm not sure there is any other maybe training. For a training organization to employ you or to refer you, you have to be an outstanding student. In my community, when you see me talk about Digital Wish, you will never see me say something like, at the end of this training, I'm guaranteeing you a job. I'm not a recruiter. I'm not hiring. Even though I work with some of my students. But even when I want to work with some of my students, I still go for my best bits. And over time, I have had platform collaborate with us. At the end of the training, our students go over to intern, volunteer, and even get hired. And sometimes I have friends who are recruiters, and the opportunities they share with me, and I'm expected to recommend. And even when I want to recommend, I'm very, very selfish. Why? I'm selfish in the sense that I have a very large community. Apparently, we are 4 years and we have trained more than 150,000 people.
Please round of applause.
And for my friends to keep coming to me to, refer my students, that it means that the students that I have referred are doing outstanding job. So if I'm to, refer just anybody, it simply means that whenever they look at the person's CV, portfolio, and it bears the name Digital Wish, they will avoid us. So at the moment, for me, if you see any training environment and they are promising you a job, most likely it's just a hype. You are going to be responsible for your learning experience. You are going to be responsible for finding your job. But the truth is, some of us will tell you how, where you can get this job, especially how you can sell yourself. Like I said the first time, having these skills are not enough. You have to learn how you can sell yourself and make me see you as the person that can solve the problem that I need. Because at the end of the day, the only reason I want to hire you because I have a problem. Exactly. And you are the solution.
Yeah, thank you so very much. I'd love to hear your thoughts on around the borders of the ladder, like the step to step. Like when she was speaking, she said something that really got me. She said she has a provision for internship, for volunteering. So is there like a ladder where you learn your skill, you get to volunteer, you get to intern, and then you get the job? Because we don't want to leave you broke, right? Okay, yeah, so let's hear your thoughts, Mr. Osita.
So, I think there's this myth. It's a very common myth that I was here when it started. It was during the Andela era when most of our young people started getting remote jobs for the first time, earning in foreign currency and all of that. So it created this myth that, once you're done with an internship program, let's go and attend this internship program or this technical boot camp, and when we are done at the end of 6 months, we'll get remote jobs, will start paying us $5,000, and from there we'll become big boys and big girls, and we can buy cars, build houses, send our parents abroad and all of that. But the thing here is that every career is like a building, right? You don't just wake up one day and you have this, high rise that has a penthouse and stuff like that. It is built from the foundation and then brick by brick. That's how careers have been built since the history. In the history of careers, that's how careers have been built. So, and it puts this unnecessary pressure on people. So you come out of your internship program, you just finished learning how to write code or something, and then the next thing you're applying for senior roles, you're doing this thing. I know a lot of people, it's most likely not your fault, because I understand that people need to eat. But I think the first thing I'm going to say is that you need to understand that your career is like a house and you need to build it brick by brick. So you need to ask yourself, what are the first things I need to do? So I've gained this skill and stuff. So do I need to apply for like a guided internship, at a company where the financial benefits might not be amazing or outstanding, but at least I get to work in a structured environment. I have someone that is managing me. I have KPIs. Do you understand? A lot of people don't. I know that a lot of young people think that once you're done with the university, people stop measuring your performance. So you come out and you do some freelancing, and you feel like that's the way to go. But no, you start at the bottom and then you climb the ladder. So internships, you get into junior roles, you still have people managing you, have people that you are reporting to and stuff like that, and it sets the expectations for you. They say in quarter one, this is what you're supposed to achieve as a junior software engineer, as a junior product designer. As the responsibilities increase, the expectations increase as well. So what it does, and then of course the financial benefits increase as well. But I want to make people understand that it's a gradual process. And then another thing I'm going to add to that is that this might be an uncomfortable thing for me to say, because I was kind of privileged. So I don't know how to give advice to people that are not exactly in my situation. But when I started out my professional career in 2016, I was living in my dad's house. The man gave me one of his small cars like that I was driving to the office. So a lot of I wasn't in survival mode like that. So it was easy for me to think about things like deferred compensation, delayed gratification. So I know that I can't just start out working in January 2016 and I expect to be this million naira raking in guy. So I took my time, to build my career. I even took time to experiment. So I started out as a software engineer before I started doing training programs, went into product. So I had a lot of time to experiment, to figure out what exactly it is I wanted to do with myself. And if people would listen to me, I think that's the way to go, right? But I understand that there is a lot of pressure. People need to, so there's like this rush. So between training time, so I'm doing this training so that in 6 months I can start earning and supporting my family and stuff like that. All that sounds nice and good, but most of the time it breaks, right? So my advice to people, as much as you can, take it easy. Do you understand? It's not success.
Take it easy.
Yeah, success is not running anywhere. Just take it easy, build your career brick by brick, and you'll be better off for it. So one of the things that it will help you do, because like I said earlier, I had time to experiment. So what will happen is that you see yourself in a position where, one, you're satisfied with what you're doing. There's the satisfaction that comes from the work that you do. Then, two, is that you've built enough competence, you've built enough capacity to now earn. So there was a time that, if someone reaches out to me to do something for them, I wouldn't be able to call certain amounts of money because I'll be like, so if I tell somebody now to pay me, for instance, 5 million, I'll be like, how will somebody just pay me 5 million naira just so that I can come and do? But after a while, you begin to understand that you've built capacity. You've even built capacity for earning. You've built capacity for a lot of things, and it just works out. So the point here is take it easy. Believe in deferred compensation, delayed gratification, and then build your career brick by brick.
Round of applause. Great thoughts, well calculated. I would also love to ask Mr. Raymond. I love his insights. So, for beginners, these people are looking to eat. While they are learning tech skill, they are skilled already, but then it's not yielding. They want to eat. They want to be able to take care of their issues. What's your best advice? Now, are you saying that they could get a full-time employment role, or they could do freelancing or a part-time job? Because I know when you were a student, you were already earning. You were working and earning, right? So are there students here? Awesome. So let's get your thoughts on this, please.
That's a very difficult question because he has a difficult answer. The difficult answer is that for most of us young people in this country, you don't get to choose. The reason you don't get to choose is because opportunities are finite. We have tons of young people. We are one of the youngest countries in the world. Our median age is 18.1. It means that for every entry-level opportunity you are going for, there is a ton of people like you who are pursuing the same opportunities. So the practical advice from me is just find value somewhere, right? Whatever it is, whether it's a full-time opportunity, whether it is freelancing, an internship, just take a first step, whatever it is. Unfortunately, we do not have the luxury of choice. But the other thing I want to say is that you have to learn to be excellent in the things that require no talent. So what this means is that because the market is super competitive and available resources and opportunities are finite, you are going to be competing with tons of people, most of them far more talented than you are. There is a very clear objective ceiling around what is talent. So if you came to software engineering, we knew that people who could write code to a certain level, this was the ceiling. Even if you work so hard and you get to that ceiling, there are no guarantees you'd be the only one. There will be tons of people like you who have hit that ceiling. So how do you differentiate yourself? I've been lucky to work with tons of talented people, and the ones who stand out to me are those who display competence in things that require no talent. Things like punctuality, being able to communicate properly, having a high sense of urgency and a high sense of agency. These are all things that we overflog and we talk about all the time. But when talent is guaranteed, when talent is no longer questioned, those are the things that begin to make a difference. I would always take working with someone who is moderately talented, but is high agency, high urgency, communicates excellently, compared to someone who is super talented. And the reason why that is the case is that at the start of your career, we know that there is a ceiling. You will keep on improving and learning and growing. But if you have terrible habits, if you don't reply your emails, if you don't communicate properly, if you don't give me notice before you skip a call, those are not habits that I can always easily change as much as I can enroll you in a course to upgrade your skills and become more talented. So, yeah.
Beautifully said. Round of applause for that. So he's trying to say that skill alone cannot get you to earn. You cannot earn just by, being talented. There are soft skills that you overlook that you should start, being intentional about building as an individual. Right? I would give room for questions, but before that, I would like to hear your last thoughts, advice that you have for young people here, students, and people that want to earn from their skills. So I would be starting with Cynthia.
Okay, so I just want to add a little point to what he just said. You know, the problem is there are a lot of jobs outside there. To be sincere with you, there are a lot of jobs. But the issue we have is everybody, especially when you are learning all these skills online, everybody wants to earn in dollars. But there are lots of jobs that will not pay you in dollars, but use the opportunity to gain expected experiences, gain expected hands-on, knowledge that will help you build a good portfolio. And one of the things I tell the younger ones is, if you can't afford to get the kind of job you want, you have uncles, you have aunties who own businesses, and these people don't have any presence online. You are always on TikTok, you're always on Facebook, you're always on IG, X, everywhere. You can start from your family. Ask your auntie, can I open a social media account for your business and I'll manage it for you? The truth is, as long as you are upskilling, you are going to be spending a lot of money, unless you are not learning online. And if you are spending money, it's expected you earn money to be able to fund that newly acquired lifestyle. You need data. Some of you need fuel, because we did Niger. Some of you probably need to transport yourself from here and there. And once this money are not coming in, at the end of the day, you give up, or you be like, after taking all this training, there's no job. But the truth is, there are jobs around you. And I have like some students who, okay, this one stay in Neri. And after one of our training, she told me she went to Neri Market. I don't know the name of the market, but she said she approached 3 shops that sell machine parts. And after introducing what she's capable of doing, they asked her to send her rates. And at the end of the day, 2 of these shops agreed for her to open social media account, and they were both paying 150K, 150K. That is like 300K for someone who is not earning at all. So this is for people who have the skills and feel like there is no job. You can apparently start very small. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you very much. Mr. Osita, can we hear your thoughts? Your last
So I have a slightly different opinion. And it's for most of the young people. If you have skills and you're not earning, it's most likely not your fault. It's most likely not your fault. There's like a crunch in the economy. Things are hard. The opportunities are very few. Your government is most likely not doing the things that they are supposed to do. So it's most likely not your fault. But it now begs the question, what exactly can you do? And one of the things I like to tell a lot of young people is that I think you need to take yourself seriously enough. I think that there's this tendency for, a lot of people around here, young people, you're just doing things based on vibes. You can't do things based on vibes anymore. It's not like when in the era of our parents where you get out of school and CBN is rushing to employ you and stuff like that. No, most of those places are saturated. So you need to, it's just the reality. It's unfair, it's unfortunate, but it is your reality. So what exactly can you do? You need to take yourself seriously. You need to build soft skills that will make you stand out, right? So there's the technical part, that's the foundation. And you can see that it's been democratized now. Even AI is trying to push some people out of work and stuff like that. So you can see that, technical talent is no longer in question now. So what are those things that will set you apart? How well do you communicate? You need to learn how to speak. You need to learn composure. You need to learn social interactions. You need to learn emotional intelligence. You need to learn how to take responsibility. So, and when I say taking responsibility, I'll just give you, in closing, I'll give you just like a brief. I remember when I was in school, when we started writing code, I remember that time, I'll tell, some of my friends, hey, let's meet up together. I can remember one evening, Angola 5 came out, said, let's, go through this stuff, just to, and people were like, no, that, we have school, I have to read my calculus, this one, that one. And, calculus is fine and good, don't get me wrong. You need your calculus if you're a computer science student. But then I'll see the same people after hours, they are playing games. They will go downstairs, play table tennis and stuff like that. I was like, okay, maybe you want to become a tennis champion. But at the end of the day, they failed to take responsibility. And what happened was that by the time I was in final year, I was honestly employed already. And it was a very uncommon thing at the time. It's not like now that most people work and then it was very uncommon. I finished my exams on Friday and I resumed at the office on Monday morning. Like Amazing. I left school. Did you get? So, and then, immediately exams were done. People now started texting me, guy, how far now? How we go do now? Job, this. And I was like, this is what I was telling you guys. I mean, if you are joined in building the skills, you will not be here today. So take yourself seriously.
More seriously.
And try
right.
to be as responsible as possible.
Round of applause. Mr. Raymond, your last word. And please make it a bit brief. Thank you.
I didn't have a lot to say anyways. You need to fail more often. I think there is the romanticization of this journey where people think we learn, we intern, and all of a sudden we start earning. What is more likely to happen is that you will apply for job upon job upon job and you will fail. You are going to hop on a call and internet will kick you out. You are not going to have lights to submit an assignment. That is the default journey if you are walking this path as a young person in this part of the country. And then I know that there are people, myself included, who do hard work to remove some of these structural barriers, but that is going to be your reality for a vast chunk of you. So if you allow yourself, if you let yourself down because you've lost one time, and I hate to sound like this is Aspire to Maguire, but the journey to being able to win or do anything meaningfully in this space involves getting more and more comfortable with setbacks, with failure. And if you do that often enough, you are going to win. And when you win, it will be worth all of those instances of failure.
All right. Take yourself more seriously. Be intentional about taking responsibility and get ready to fail often just so that you can win. And that's our time. It was a beautiful conversation. I know you have questions, so you could meet any of the panelists, fashion your questions to them, and that will be it. Thank you so very much.
Please put your hands together for this panel. Wow. Wow. Please, photographers. Wow. This is so beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Digital Witch. Thank you, Raymond. Thank you, Osita. And thank you, our very amazing moderator, Faith Victor Onyekwe. Thank you so much. Wow. Okay, before we go to the final session, I'd like to mention that tomorrow is ETF Web3 Day. I mentioned it earlier. We'll be talking about DeFi, we'll be liquidity provision, ecosystem building, real world adoption, and so on and so forth. And some of our Web3 sponsors have a pool of $1,000 in giveaways tomorrow. So tell your friends to come here and win some dollars. It is very important to mention that. Also, just for those that are leaving or would want to not be here to hear this, there will be certificates of participation for all of those who registered and attended the sessions. So if you're not participating, you might have a problem when you find out that your friends have certificates and you don't. So please make sure you have full participation so that you can have your certificate given to you. So have that in mind as we proceed. So the final session for the day, I'd like to also mention we have our Honorable Commissioner walked in some minutes ago. I'm sure he's still around somewhere, and maybe I would have to wait, or maybe when before we finish the session, I will acknowledge his presence again. And of course, if you heard about the hackathon and the other events that have been going on before this time, you would know that the special advisor to the governor on digital economy and MSMEs is also here with us, Mr. Arinze Chilofia. We appreciate your presence again. Thank you. Please give him a round of applause, please. Thank you. And for those of you that you're always talking about entrepreneurship, small and medium enterprise, business, these are the people you should be talking to. So ask him questions. He can direct you to a place you'd come and have a full-blown, they have spaces where people like you can come around and ask questions. So do that so that your out tomorrow will be better. Of course, tomorrow is here. All right, are we good? Ladies and gentlemen, coming up next is another fireside chat. It's called Building Investor-Ready Startups. And to moderate this session, I'd like to invite our very own brother, okay. Before we go to the next session, I mentioned that we're going to look at the multimedia screen because we have something to show. Please, let's have the audio. And start all over, please. Okay, we'll still take another moment to work on it so that you can get the information. But for now, I'm going to invite for Building Investor-Ready Startups, the fireside chat, the moderator, Mr. Yagazie Obiwanne. Please put your hands together for him as he takes the stage and he will introduce the panelists that will be on this one. Keep clapping for him. This is an investor too.
Thank you, Lorenzo. Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening. Is anybody in this hall? Good evening. Thank you very much. I know we've had a long day, and I must appreciate each and every one of you who is here up until this time. It's not easy. We've sat through long panel sessions, and I promise you this is the last one for today, so you do not have anything more to worry about. Thank you so much. We're going to be having a panel on building investor-ready startups, and we're going to be looking at financial planning, corporate governance, and investor readiness. I have two fine gentlemen and two ladies who will be joining me here for this panel. So please, as they make their way to the stage when I introduce them, do not be too busy to put your hands together for them, because these are people who have literally cut their horn in their industries and are here to share very deep insights into what it takes to get those monies in for the startup ideas that innovators here have. So please, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, join me as I welcome them one after the other. Please join me to make welcome Aaron Isume. He's the co-founder and CEO of Greenade Technologies. A big round of applause for him. Also join me to welcome Cynthia Ichisom. She's a startup advisor and mentor across global incubators and accelerators. Please, a big round of applause for her. Please keep clapping as she makes her way up here. Also join me to welcome Nzube Ndiokwelu. He is the founder of Beacon Smith Collective. Please, a big round of applause for him. And last but not the least, I have a certified digitization consultant and licensed business development support provider, Mrs. Cynthia Otonye. A big round of applause for her. Okay, I understand that she's running a bit late, but she'll join us here on stage. Thank you very much, guys. All right. So we are talking about money and how to get those monies in for these big startups and big ideas that we have. I know that there are a lot of... Okay, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Miss Chinyere Otuonye. A big round of applause for her. Thank you. So like I was saying, money is important for startups to scale. And how to get these monies are the things that I want you to share with us right here on stage. So I'll begin by asking the question, what does it even mean to be investor ready? Because we are talking about building investor ready startups. What does it mean when we say that a startup is investor ready? Going beyond the pitch decks, and at what stage do startups begin to prepare themselves for external investment? Maybe we'll begin with you, Cynthia, on my extreme left.
Thank you very much. Let me just do a quick check. How many of us are building startups? Just wave. Building startups. Let me know the founders in the room. How many of us are trying to raise money right now? Okay, a lot of us. Great. I think we had more hands for the second one than the first. Okay, so what does it mean to be ready for investors? It pretty much means that you are now in the shape that investors are willing to give you money to build your company, right? So first thing is understanding the different investors you have. You have angel investment, you have VCs, venture capital, you have PEs, you have debts and things like that. And these different investors have a type of company, depending on stage, sector, and things like that, that they invest in, right? So being investor ready means that you have fulfilled all the requirements for these different categories of investors, and now those investors find your company attractive. So the next question is, what are those requirements, and how do you meet up with those things?
All right. You say those investors find your company attractive. Is it the numbers that will make it attractive? Is it how much you're making per se that would be attractive for those investors?
Yes, great question. So we talk about the different investors, right? So if we take the angel investors, these are HNIs, right? Individuals who want to make a bet in what it is that you're building. So for those guys, the biggest metric amongst many other things is you as an individual, right? Do you have an existing relationship with them? Because usually angel investors come from around you. Either you know them personally or someone knows them, right, that they can do that intro. So those angel investors are basically believing in you because usually the company doesn't have anything super tangible enough for them to say, oh yes, it's going to be successful. They are very aware of the risk. So it's very, very early. So the requirements are very different. But for VCs, those ones are looking for solid companies that they can put money into and it can fuel growth. So usually companies are at that stage where they can take on the funding that can fuel the growth at the next stage of your company. So you've taken on angel investors, you're building, you've got to a stage where you can reach 1 million customers, but you need that additional funding to get there. Those guys come in. So the requirements are different. You need to have certain level of traction, growth, customers. They're going to ask a lot more. Your team is very important. They're going to ask a lot more. For the PEs and the devs, those are guys who support growth stage companies, really large. So the requirements are very different. I think the huge takeaway is understanding where you are as a startup and what stage your company is currently at and what kind of investment suits what it is you're building. Maybe you just need to take in grants to where you are as opposed to looking for a VC.
All right, thank you very much. So startups have to understand where they are and the kind of investors that will find them attractive. All right, Ms.
Yes,
Chinyere.
I want to throw more light because I believe many people who raised their hands when Cynthia asked that question about who is presently looking for funds are running small businesses. Now, The question is that your small business formalized? By this, I mean, is it registered with the Corporate Affairs Commission, CAC? Is your business structured? I think I should even take a poll. You're looking for money. You raised your hand earlier. Respond to this. Is that your business registered with CAC? Let me see a show of hands. CAC is Corporate Affairs. Do you see how many now? So just only this has disqualified almost 90% of people who said they are looking for money. And it's a basic requirement. Then they will ask you, do you have structure in your business? By structure is not this physical building. We're talking about how does your business operate? The processes in your business, are they documented and something anyone who comes into your business can read up and implement without disrupting the flow of that your business? So business structure, which also somehow is covered by policies, because the policy will now provide the governance of how things should work. In case there is a problem, see what and what should happen, who is responsible, reporting lines and all that. You even have an organogram. We know some of us are the founder, CEO, managing director, chief accountant, head of human resources, head of sales, chief marketing officer, only you. If you are going like that for funding, there is a limit to the type of funds that will be available to you and the type of funders that can even look at you. However, if you have more than you working in that business, then you should start putting up structures. Especially when it is my wife and I. Don't say you are not keeping records. That's another one. You are not documenting your sales. You are not documenting expenses, how much you have spent. It's me and my husband now. There is no need. We think I'm monitoring him. Very wrong mindset. So these are the realities of today. Why many of you, if I now ask the question, how many of you have these three basic things? Your business is registered with CAC. That's one. You have structure, policies established in your business. And you have business records where you write down every bit of expense, every bit of sales, your inventory, all the things you're selling in your business. Your customers, you have their records. The people you are buying from in the market, you have their records. Please, let me see your hands. I rest my case. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much, Mrs. Chinyere. Thank you for that insight. So structure is really important for any business that intends to attract investors. So we'll get over now to a founder, somebody who has been there, down in the dirt, building something from the scratch, and has learned how to attract investors. Let's understand what the challenge really is. Mr. Nzube, how can you move from being a founder who has been building an idea within the confines of your bedroom to deciding that I think it's about time for me to scale this business and I should now be going out to look for investors. I should now be going out to, build a proper structure for my business.
Okay, thank you very much for that. My name is Ndiokolo Nzube. I'm mostly known as the Beacon Smith on all media platforms. So when it comes to my own perspective, we have the digital products, and your approach, if you're actually someone that's creating a digital product, is a bit different from someone who's trying to create a physical business. Now, this insight comes from the fact that I have a physical hub where we do sip and paint events, AI and arts, and we do different other things. And if I'm looking for an investor, most times when investors meet me with respect to that business, it's at a different stage that they are taking a look at it. However, for anybody looking at what I'm trying to build, which is a digital product, they're mostly always interested in what your views are. Why do you want to solve this problem in your society? Why does this problem exist? Why do you think you are uniquely qualified to actually build or solve this product? So, more often than not, to be ready, if you're looking for an investor when you have something like a digital product, you need to actually express your views more. And then not only just try to raise money because you wish to build. Right now, there's so many tools that have democratized building right now. And so you can quickly prototype, you can quickly show a proof of concept for any product or any digital idea that you have. So more often than not, you're going to see that investors are going to want to see you raise money for growth, not just to actually move from 0 to 1. You should be able to leverage the existing tools that exist to build out your product. And while you build your product, you're able to tell the story of why you feel you're uniquely qualified to build this product, this problem exists in your society, and why your own approach is the right approach towards this. And you'll be quite very much surprised that if you share your thoughts candidly, where you talk a whole lot more about some of the challenges you see in the society and express your own unique views on how to solve them, that there will always be communities or networks that are out there willing to actually engage you on the merit of your own ideas and from your own perspective. And then they are able to see what is your level of involvement in this project that you're trying to solve.
So in essence, you're saying it's important to also do storytelling around what you are building so that investors can be attracted in an unconventional way, I guess.
Yes, and I believe that a lot of people here that use social media X more often would actually start hearing about storytellers, and you hear about the venture companies talking about storytelling, and what they're mostly trying to put out there or get you to be in that mode is that it's not just enough that you're building a product. You should also be able to communicate to the public why you wish to solve this problem. So, for example, the problem that I'm trying to solve, which is the product that I'm trying to uniquely approach, is to solve the problem of trust within the society, because trust is something that is an infrastructure, and most of my work deals in the blockchain space and at the intersection of blockchain and AI. So at that intersection, you tend to realize that trust degrades with AI, but crypto actually enforces trust. So at that intersection, we could possibly, pioneer trust infrastructures which could actually be used by blockchains, and you could actually still stretch that thinking into robotics over time.
All right, thank you very much, Nzube. Please, a big round of applause for him. We'll get over now to Aaron, who has built businesses that have scaled. Aaron, I'm going to ask you a question around how you decided to go with maybe investors that have come to your startups, investors that have decided to invest in your startups. How did you decide? Did you ever have cold feet around whether or not to go with this investor or the other investor?
Thank you. Honestly, unfortunately, in Nigeria, you might not have the option to even see one investor is a problem. Talk more of seeing more than one that you could select from. But I think it varies according to the level, the stage your business is at. So maybe I'll give a short story. When we started, so at GreenAid, we were kind of a solar technology company. So when we started early in UNN, that should be 2016 or so, we were still students like many of you. One of the first investments we ever needed was not money. We needed a space, somewhere to stay and work. We had nowhere. We're using our room now. You are doing your design in your room and everything, but when you want to run a business and you have 2 or 3 people working together, your room might not work. So the first thing you need is a space, and we're like, how are we going to have money to pay for rent? When you're a student and you want to run a business, you now know that rent is a very big investment because you have not finished paying your house rent. Talk more of rent for a shop. Luckily for us, our first investor was a family friend. He said, come and use my kitchen. He built a new house. There's one kitchen upstairs and one kitchen downstairs. I said, I'm not using the kitchen downstairs. You guys can use that kitchen as your workshop for now. So that was our first ever investment. It might look small, but then we were so happy because, wow, we had a place. Right? So we started in the kitchen and it became bigger. We couldn't have space to put our electronic components and the rest. The next investment we got was from Dr. Anotu. He was the director of the Youth and Friendly Resource Center then in UNN. So he said, I like what you guys are doing, but you guys need a bigger space, right? We couldn't afford a bigger space. He couldn't give us any cash, but he said, I can talk to the director of Youth Friendly Resource Center and he will give you a bigger space. It's popularly called Energy Center in UNN. So the next kind of investment we got was a bigger space. It had a big workshop. It was in a center that had other people doing research and development so we could relate to what we were doing. So you see, that was the investment we did at that time and that was what we got. We had other options then because we had other shops in Ogbete that we could go for. But you know, it will not be the same ecosystem. Moved down to the first time we ever raised an investment, which was a combination of funding from South and Southeast Angel Network, Tennessee, and some other private investors that invested in us when we needed some machines to start producing. At that point in time, all we had to tell them is, see, we can do anything, we can walk, we don't sleep. As you see us, we are always active, but we like to be part of this journey. And they invested a total of, I think, 57,000 USD. We could not sleep now. You see, if we are working, we are like this. So I think this took us to maybe where we are now. But at those early stages, we really didn't have any choice because people didn't even believe what we were saying. Tell somebody you are trying to make inverter locally, they tell you, is something wrong with your head? They are making inverter in China. I give you a particular statement. Somebody told me one day, we have not finished making toothpick and you want to make inverter. Imagine you asking for somebody for investment and they give you this kind of statement. You go back and be like, are you sure I'm not mad? Are you sure I'm in the right space? So unfortunately, you might not have options when you start on time, but you need to be able to know that sometimes investment is not always money. Investment can be connection. Investment can be opportunities. So when you are talking to an investor, in quotes, at the early stage, because a lot of people here might be students, and you know students are popularly, they call them WhatsApp CEOs, right? You might not have incorporated businesses. Your business might not, I know what Ms. Chinere say might scare you, because you might not be at that level yet, but you eventually, everybody started as a WhatsApp CEO, right? So you eventually get it, but you need to know that investment for you at the very early stage might be your brother's pocket money, might be your uncle's money, might be your neighbor's kitchen. It might be somebody connecting you to somebody to give you a new space, somebody connecting you to get a grant, and so on and so forth. That might be the early investment that you get, and then I think you can really build up from there.
All right, thank you very much. Big round of applause for him. I like how he has told us the story that is very relatable, because he told us the trajectory of, their own startups, and it's something that everybody here could relate to. If you, have had somebody who's building something, you know that most of them begin just by their, bedside, building something, and from building a product that is relatable, telling friends about it and family, then they can go ahead and reach out for investors. I'll come back to Ms. Chinyere. So at what point should a startup hire maybe a professional accountant or a CFO to begin to keep the books? Because we talked a lot about the structure and having the books all correctly done. At what point would you advise a business to do that?
Okay. You need to understand your costs. In whatever you do, please, let me sound this as a word of caution. Stop doing boropos. That's what kills, especially small businesses, faster. You want to be like. They say fake it till you make it. In business, if you fake it, you will fail. Understand your capacity. Somebody that has been existing 10 years ago is a big brother to you that started last year. Tell yourself the truth. Individually, you may have some competence, some level of capability. In capacity, yes, you may be bigger, but in terms of experience, you cannot compare a 1-year-old to a 10-year-old. Now, you want to muzzle an expert that will be costing, expert in capital letters, that will be collecting 6 figures from your baby business that probably does not have a large customer base or have so many products that you're selling and making money. I'm trying to break it so that you understand how your business can be hungry for Versace. Meanwhile, Versace is in your backyard. And Versace one nine. Go for Versace one nine before you start aiming for Versace. There are people who you can get on board as your team members on a consultancy base rather than in-house that you'll be paying salary every month. You may be looking at salary as a small, by the time you collate it, you'll be spending over what you didn't even bargain for. So these people will only ask you, send me your sales record, send me your expense record, send me your inventory every week, every Friday. At the end of the month, they prepare your statements for you. That works. And as cheap as 30,000, you get that service. You cannot hire a graduate of accountancy. In fact, somebody with OND, you can't pay 30,000, true or false. Anybody says true now will hire you on the spot. Did somebody say true? Do you understand? So the reality is, you can actually get someone who will be servicing every other person, but will also service you on that basis. Or you get volunteers who are hungry for experience to support your business. It will cost you less. All you cover is their transport fare and probably some little things to tell them thank you. If you're looking for experts, there is something called pro bono services being offered by experts, probably as part of their corporate social responsibility or a giveaway. At events like this, you can get such offers. That is why we encourage you to leave your comfort zone and attend events. You never know who you can meet. And when you attend, don't sit down far up. You see, there are some people up there. They are not talking to anybody. There are people at the back. They've not said hi to the person beside them. Somebody used this word yesterday. Permit me to use it. Destiny helper can be this guy, can be somebody just around you. Be mindful of those big terms and titles. Experts. Because it might not be suitable for your growth level at that point. All you need is just simple bookkeeping. Somebody with SSC certificate can actually do it. If you tell the person how to keep your records, the person can handle customers. So we are talking about bootstrapping. We're talking about lean teams. Somebody who can handle more than one role, please, in a healthy way, not trying to kill somebody's son or daughter. Only one person will handle 7 roles and you paying the person 50K below the approved basic minimum wage, please. So these are my points. There are a lot that you need to learn, which is why you should also look for a mentor that can guide you. A mentor in your business, in your industry, or a business advisor that will shed more light so that you can understand opportunities that are available to you, strategies you can use to save costs, and money for use in your business for other things. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Aaron had something to add, or has something to add to that.
Yeah, so I want to oppose her a little bit. You know, when she started, she said something like, you cannot be only you CEO, CFO, CBO, HR. Forget those names. See, if you are a startup, when you're starting, you are everything. No? You are your CEO, only you be accountant. Only you storekeeper. I'll tell you something. When you are starting, you guys might be two. And you need to make a sales, for example. I'm not trying to promote some kind of, what would I call it? Tribal sentiment. But when you see that the person that wants to give you that job is from Ezeagu, and you know you are from Delta, and you have somebody on your team that is from Ezeagu, when you are going to meet that person, that Ezeagu person is the CEO, and you are the person's boy. Do you understand what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is that you have to learn to be flexible when you are starting. You don't have rules. Everybody's everything. If they ask who is the CEO in this company, you ask who is asking. Do they want to buy or do they want to invest? You have to be flexible. You have to learn everything. Unfortunately for us, when we started early, there was no AI. So you have to, I give a typical example. The first time I wanted to get an investment, they told us, send your, what do they call it? Send your company accounts. They say send your management accounts. We sent our Access Bank, Zenith Bank, and this thing, our bank account statement. Now, the fact that you might not recognize what I'm saying now means you were in the same category, like you were like me back then. So management accounts like a profit and loss balance sheet and the rest. So we sent our bank account statement. And the person who sent it to was laughing, was like, JJC, people are just coming, right? So after then, we got some kind of clear. So you could give the excuse that I'm not an accountant, so I should not know this. But that person talking to you is expecting that whether you are a startup or not, you should know everything. So fortunately for you now, there are tools that can help you achieve all the things that he asked. Right? To get your business to be at a particular standard where you have the proper documentations and everything, there are tools that can help you. So the first thing is that go to your ChatGPT, create a particular bot and let that thing be AI. Everything about your business, feed it to him. Right? So that whenever you need something about your business, you can ask and it will provide the structure for you. That's one. The second thing is that you need to work with. There are a lot of financial tools like Zoho is very popular because it's cheap. Zoho Books. Whether you are doing online CEO, startup CEO, whatever your stage of business is, Zoho Books is very cheap. QuickBooks is also very cheap. And then you have other more expensive like Sage Accounting and the rest. Now, what this does for you is that everything you spend, you record it. They have automatic account heads for you. If you spend money on transportation, you record it. It's very easy. Sometimes you can just upload your account statement and they will capture all the different expenses for you. Now, what that does for you is that if eventually an investor says, send me your balance sheet, you have never heard the word balance sheet in your life before. And they say, send me your balance sheet, so we'll get back to you. You have to you mention 3 business working days or something like that. Now, find one word. And then you go back, go to your Zoho Books and say, I want to export balance sheet. All the things you fed to it before, it will use that to help you to be able to download that. So these are the things at least that way you can have a profit and loss account without being an accountant. You have a balance sheet without being an accountant. Your chatbot on ChatGPT can help you generate company procedures, accounting procedures, and all those things that you need. So that when you provide documents, nobody will catch you off guard. You're never to be caught on fresh. Nobody will catch you on fresh. They will not say this guy is just starting. They will not know what's really going on because of how ready you sound. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Aaron. Please, a round of applause for him. I'll come back to you, Cynthia. You've worked with incubation hubs. You've worked with startups. Is there a point where you believe that a startup taking an investor's money is a wrong decision?
Yes, quite a number. So the first is when you have a conversation with an investor, but you don't do proper due diligence on the investor themselves. Taking on that investor money is actually going to bring a lot of pain to you, because it's either the investor is demanding that you change the company from the vision, from the ethos of what it is you're doing to match theirs, or they are requesting for a whole lot more than you should give to the investor in terms of standard, or it just basically comes back to hurt you much later when they kick you out as CEO. So the first layer is make sure you do due diligence on the investor. What does that mean? It means researching about the investor. Search for, if an investor, if it's a VC, they usually have their portfolio companies on their website. Check through those companies, reach out to their CEO and be like, I'm currently in talks with this investor for this amount. I just want to have a conversation with you. How is your experience? So the first layer is actually meeting an investor who is a danger to the company long term, right? The second time will be when you take on investment without knowing what to do with the money that you're taking on. So Aaron mentioned that he raised 57K, but you knew what you were going to use the 57K for before you took on the money. So whenever I'm having conversations with founders and I say, how much are you looking to raise? You just call. The most funny ones are those who say, oh, we're looking to raise 200 to 500,000. I say, is it 200,000 or is it 500,000? So sometimes most founders don't know how to calculate how much they need to reach their next milestone. The thing about taking on external investment is that it vanishes. That's the best way to put it. It will finish one day. And the timeline usually for investment is between 12 to 18 months. That means whatever money you are raising in the next 12 to 18 months, that money should help you reach the required milestone for 18 months, for the next 18 months. So if you are taking on 200K, that 200K is supposed to help you reach $2 million. And by the time you get to $2 million, you should now be able to raise your follow-on investment. That will make it easy for you to take on another $1 million to reach $10 million. Do you guys see that? So usually, startups don't know how to do that proper calculation of what will it cost for me to get to my next milestone in the next 12 to 18 months. The challenge with that is that when you take on the money without doing proper calculation, the money will finish on time. And guess what? If your money finishes on time, it means that you're going to start the journey of raising funds, and that can probably take some time, about 3 to 6 months, if not more. So that means you're already bleeding, if not almost dying. And that's why you see a lot of founders and companies that die when they say they run out of funds. It's because their runway and their burn rates was too high for the money that they are taking on in their previous funding round. And so by the time, they're about to raise their next round, they didn't have a lot of investors waiting to give them that cash. And usually, it might lead to a down round. That means the value of your company would now be devalued. And that will just basically impact your equity, will be diluted. It's just chaotic. So before you decide to reach out to an investor, do the proper calculations, do the mathematics. How much do I need? What is that money supposed to help me do in the next 12 to 18 months? What is the expected traction by that date? And by that date, it means 6 months before that date, you start raising for the next round that you use to get to your next set of milestones. So just in summary, taking on the wrong investor, not doing proper research on who they are, can lead to really catastrophic things in the future. And then 2, not doing the proper calculations to define what is required for your business to get to the next phase. Those are the 2 key things amongst many other things to watch out for.
Yeah, thank you. I would have loved you to break down how to make those calculations, but we don't have enough time. I'll come to Zube now. Have you ever been in that kind of dilemma where an investor is offering money, but you're not certain that you want to have this investor buy a stake in your product or in your startup? And then how do you handle investors that say no to you? How do you handle that heartbreak? Because we know that there are startups who have tried to get investors to look at what they are building, and investors ultimately look through the books and say, no, I'm not going to invest in this. How do you handle it without discarding entirely the idea and thinking that your idea does not make any sense?
Okay, so I think I'm just going to share some practical examples because more often than not, another challenge is you often think you know when you need funds from an investor, and sometimes when you actually think you don't need money from an investor, you might actually need money from an investor. So back in 2015, when to digitize some of their processes, and when we scaled to like 3 schools, we basically had 3 schools going for like 2 years. And around that period, a competitor who then is quite very, very big right now made an offer, to actually, buy us out, to, have us become a kind of like a part of their own company and bring our own, expertise in-house. We were very, very young, and we felt that we could do it all alone, and we were really pumped up at that time. And we didn't take the money, and we didn't take the offer, and we went into what we call right now reality mode, where the market stress tests every action and every money you spend and every decision that you've ever taken. And you then start running into some of the challenges with trying to, scale a business. Now, this second stage right now, where I'm then doing another business, right now I started bootstrapped, and it's